Hello and welcome to Dataless Creation. Just dropped my remote here. I'm going to be crushing the last of my cans, but when the compressor kicks on, I'm going to shut it down and then I'm going to clip, and I'm going to use my editor for the first time to smush stuff together. So bear with me. Yeah, clip it now. I hear the little beep, that means it's working. I don't think I'm gonna clip it, because why not? I'm having fun. Crushing cans. I quit energy drinks, so these are the last. And I don't drink soda, so I don't expect to generate much more. And I have a lot to melt. Kind of want the compressor to kick on, so I can cut and then, like, I don't know. All right, nice. So what's going on? Crushing the last of my cans, bringing things inside. Obviously, I don't have power tools inside. I can't be really noisy. I have neighbors and they have a baby and stuff. Yeah, I respect my neighbors. I don't want to be running power tools inside. So I'm gonna be going over gadgets and doing some other stuff, covering different interests I have, talking a lot of topics. And I'm excited about it. It's not a change of directions forever. Just a seasonal shift, if you will. I've been packing and cleaning and dusting because I've got a lot of stuff that I haven't really touched and dealt with properly for a while. So, gonna redesign the shop. Gonna do a lot of things. Got a lot of stuff. That thing's really loud. So I got a lot of different stuff I've been thinking about doing, and it's been years actually I've been thinking. So I'm gonna cover a lot of topics. I hope people will be interested. Obviously how I began doing this, what made me want to become a chemistry teacher. I've had a lot of jobs over the years. I mean, I worked at Blockbuster Video, to date myself here. So, you know, a lot of stuff to unwind from my curious mind. But yeah, so I'm excited. As for the packing and purging and decluttering, it got too comfortable and dusty, as you might know. In a woodworking shop, obviously, there's a lot of dust. So, I gotta say thank you for the compressor interruptions. They're a small blessing in disguise. They give me time to collect my thoughts. So, thank you to God. I'm a faithful person. I'm not going to get overly preachy or anything right now. But I believe in something bigger than myself that wants me to be a good person. I'm a very spiritual person. I'll cover some of these things as my channel grows and I get more videos uploaded. Again, this is the first one I'm going to actually edit together, so this is kind of fun. Next step. The interruptions the compressor gives is great because it gives me time to think about the next thing I'm going to friggin' talk about. Because you may not know this, but I don't really plan what I'm going to do or say. I'm still cracking up inside. Again, these little blessings. I don't know what I'm doing when I'm doing this, and I dance with chaos here. And things like that, just random. You can't plan that, or, you know. I mean, I knew it was going to happen, but right as, you know. Anyway, so I got a lot of science, technology. I'm a geek, a nerd, whatever. I'm a big brain weirdo that loves doing what he's doing, so I want to share that. Most of all, I like to find the joke in a bad situation after the fact, usually, because, you know, you don't want to laugh in the middle of one. Tends not to go over well. But, you know, life is full of lessons and moments that, you know, might make you angry. If you can find a reason to laugh, it's a lot healthier, I tell you that much. Got a lot of laughter in my heart and throughout my day. So I'm hoping to share that in my videos. Plan to talk about my mind. I'm not going to make it the subject of my channel, but certainly some videos. I have been interested in science and woodworking and engineering and all sorts of stuff since I was a little kid. I became a science teacher, oddly enough. So yeah, I became a science teacher, oddly enough. And part of that was actually something to do with middle school. I had a science teacher that I did not have much respect for. She was not the ideal teacher for me. And so when I was graduating in 8th grade to go off to high school, she's playing all friendly and nice like she loved me the entire time she taught me. To my parents who were there, all proud of my accomplishments and helping me get there. So she asked what I wanted to do when I went to college, what I wanted to study. So, being the little wise guy that I was, and to some extent still am, I still am. I really am. I toned it down. As you grow, you gotta get rid of that, where you don't go far well and with lots of friends that love you. It's ADHD moment. I'm going to go with somehow the interruptions became the title. I like that. So back to the science teacher I didn't have enough respect for. I do now, knowing what I was like as a kid. She didn't crack me one. So anyway, she's playing all nice and sweet with my parents and asks what I plan to study. So I came up with the most complicated thing I could think of. Not even sure it was a legitimate career path. Biochemical engineering. Sounds real smart. Up yours to my science teacher. And she acted all enamored and awed by it. And fast forward now, I'm a retired science teacher who taught chemistry and introductory science. I didn't go down the bio path. I didn't want to become a pharmaceutical chemist or something. I didn't know all of what biochemical studies or the engineering studies would involve, but I'm glad I went the way I did. I went chemistry because it came easy to me in college for whatever odd brain reason My mind works differently. It's not average or typical. Not neurotypical. Like, the imagery in my mind, I think in holograms in a way where I can visualize abstract concepts in real space in my mind. So chemistry was just kind of like Legos, where pieces just fit together for me. So I figured with all my friends struggling with the chemistry, I was taking it easy. And so I may as well make that my career, because if it's easy for me and I enjoy it, and it's tough for other people, why not make a living of it? But as I went in and became a graduate student, the research is what really stunk for me. I didn't get into a good research group for myself and my development. I took a different path. Other professors and projects might have been more interesting and fruitful, but again, with the blessings in disguise, my research project wasn't the subject of importance. What was meaningful is that my dissatisfaction with it became the fuel that became my teaching career. At the same time I was dissatisfied with research, I was also a teaching assistant and really enjoying it. I was able to share abstract concepts of chemistry with students who were interested, many of them, not all of them. And so with analogies and different examples, I made it easier for them. And that's what made me say, hey, if I could do it for these guys, I want to do this for others. So after the master's in chemistry I was going for, I decided let's just, instead of PhD research, I don't want to do that. Let's go for the teaching. So I got myself a master's in arts and teaching with an emphasis in science education, and I got off to my teaching career, which the teaching had its highs and lows, but I loved the process. I loved the classroom and the students, and my favorite by far is that, oh my God, I get it moment. Oh, that is rewarding as a teacher, I gotta tell you. So I enjoyed the heck out of that, and then my career path took a different direction. I was looking to change from a private school back into a public school for the pay, and this was back, I forget what year it was, but anyway, unfortunately at the time, the budgets and economy weren't conducive to paying someone with 2 master's degrees as opposed to someone fresh out of college. Too expensive, so I couldn't get hired. And then I started working for a friend doing house painting, of all things, because I couldn't find anything in chemistry or teaching. And through that, I grew into meeting people and doing more high-end painting and some carpentry. And then from there, I started working with further down the road in life. I went from the high-end painting guy to another person who did a lot more home improvement, small projects, remodels, house painting to a high-end quality. But I got more hands-on with saws and tools and installation of stuff, and I loved it because as a kid, my hobby table was my dad's workbench. I loved being at that workbench. Using a hammer and saw, we would go to the lumber yard for scrap wood. We'd get it from the scrap bin on Saturday. That's a childhood memory that I love. My dad and I going to the lumber yard to get scrap wood. The reason it was good on Saturday was they always had a box of donuts for their customers. That, as a kid, it's awesome. You get your Saturday morning cartoons, and then you hopped in the car with Dad and got my donut and wood to play with. I would make all sorts of stuff. So I got back to my childhood hobby dream. I love these interruptions. They're small blessings, I tell you. They give me time to collect my mind. I really loved remembering about being a kid and being at the workbench. And here I am again. Hi, Dad, up there, wherever. You might be sideways, depending on the orientation of heaven. I didn't get one of them special compasses. So, yeah, I like to joke, I like to laugh, I like to tinker, I love tools, technology. I have a whole bunch of geek tech inside. I've been wanting to do content creation for several years now. I had we'll call it a relationship delay. is in a relationship with someone. She's a sweetheart and very kind, but I'm too prickly for someone as soft and kind as she is. So, porcupine dilemma. We weren't able to get as close as people should in order to have a healthy future life as partners. So, talk about the blessings. Holy moly. So, the woman I was in a whatever kind of relationship it was, she didn't like the term girlfriend, that's for sure. It was friends, and I don't know. I don't need to explain it. It didn't work out, and doesn't mean she's not a wonderful, amazing person with a great heart. It just means that we weren't the right match. That's all. But it took me a long time to get to this kind of development, we'll say, maturity. It's easy to take things personally, but sometimes it's just not the right fit, and you gotta accept it. But blessings. Thanks to her, I grew a whole heck of a lot, I would say, and matured. Not enough to not make stupid jokes, okay? I'm not like, Mr. Professor in a proper suit with elbow patches right now. Look at my sleeves. I'm sure I've already been judged by somebody out there. I don't mind. It's comfy. So yeah, blessings. I matured and grew in many ways thanks to that relationship. And she's such a kind woman. She actually invested in me and my future at one point in many ways, at many points, but the specific point is the computer that I'm going to be working with. If it weren't for her, it wouldn't be there, and the current way the computer industry is, I wouldn't be able to get what I have now. Now, it would be priced out of my possibility. Thank you. I shall leave you nameless, but I still love you, and I still think about you often, and I hope you're doing well. To whoever she might match well with, she's a good one. Treat her right. My hands have too many calluses. So, on that note, I will be creating wonderful things with the blessing and wonderful. So yes, more content to come. And again, I'm not neurotypical, so I can be rough around the edges. It's not good for people. I've had a number of relationships in my life. I'm single now, and I'm not unhappy for it. I'm healthier for the experiences I've had and grown from. I don't like to hold on to my hurt. I gotta, work it out in my mind. I spend so much time in my mind. That's why these interruptions are a nice thing, because it gives me time to catch up and see where I was going, because I live with organized chaos, I'll tell you that. Sometimes my mind just starts going into like random thought rhymes with rhythm and everything, and I'm like, what did Shakespeare take over one of the monkeys? The monkeys are the inhabitants of the circus of my mind, for anybody that was wondering. I think some of the monkeys have psychic powers, and they turned on the compressor to keep me from doxing them. Because they live in the circus of my mind. Haha, now they know your address. It's global now, except for, certain countries that censor their internet. Not getting political. No monkeys and politics in my brain, please. Yeah, I talk to myself a lot. I have some very meaningful conversations, both vocally and internally. I process all dang day. It can be exhausting, but it teaches me so much. I look at situations from as many angles as I can conceive in order to be prepared the next time I might encounter what have you or whatnot. Like I said, it can be exhausting, but I can't stop my mind from doing what it does. I'm not going to take medication to slow down my mind. And, like, I was prescribed Ritalin and then Adderall when I was younger, and I did not like it. It was 6 cans left and a good note to leave off on. The ADHD medications were not right for me. And with that, I will simply say that for some people, they just have to learn how to experience the world as their natural self in order to be able to function better than a medication through the longevity of their life will do for them. A lot of people require medication, and I respect that deeply as someone who's had a lot of experience with people with mental health troubles and such, so I got much empathy and heart for them. You know? But for me, the ADHD medicine made me feel like a robot, just kind of like a machine, not a person. So I'm glad to not have to take that kind of stuff. That's what I'm grateful for. I got one more can, and what I'm grateful for in this moment is anybody that stuck with me to the end. This is the last energy drink can. I will hopefully be crushing certainly any that I've consumed. And that's it for me. So thank you for watching, and more to come. Of course it didn't fall in the bag. And the compressor didn't kick on. Well, love you, and thank you all for watching, and if you haven't, please subscribe. It really